In the name of Allah. Hello. Egyptian Pyramids. The city of Giza is located in the northern region of Egypt, on the west bank of the Nile River, and is considered the third largest city in Egypt, after Cairo and Alexandria. Its strategic location near the ancient capital of Memphis made it an important city throughout Egyptian history. The Giza Plateau in the eastern part of the city of Giza is where you can find the famous Triple Pyramids of Egypt, although in this collection you will see 9 pyramids. The Giza Plateau includes the northernmost tomb of Khufu, the middle tomb of Khafra, and the southernmost tomb of Menkaure. In the southeast of these last 2 tombs, the village of workers is located, a village that did not exist before the construction of the Great Pyramid of Khufu, but when its construction started, this village was designed to accommodate workers. The oldest pyramid, named Djoser's Pyramid, was built by an architect named Imhotep. The civilization of ancient Egypt reached political unity and was formed 3,140 years before Christ in the Nile River Valley, with the joining of the 2 kingdoms of Upper Egypt and Salaf under the rule of the first pharaoh, who was known as Menes. Most of the Egyptian pyramids are located in the western part of the Nile River due to the belief of the people of that time in the connection between the sunset and the world of the dead. They believed that burying their dead in the western parts, closer to the sunset, would help them connect better and faster with the afterlife. The oldest pyramid, the Step Pyramid of Djoser, is located in the ancient site of Saqqara, southwest of Memphis. This building and the complex around it were built by an architect named Imhotep, but the most prominent pyramids are the Triple Pyramids of Egypt. These pyramids, Khufu, Khafra and Menkaure, are considered a turning point in the architectural style of ancient Egypt and are also a symbol of Egypt. The 3 pyramids of Egypt are located in an 8-kilometer space on the Giza Plateau, along with a number of smaller pyramids and a beautiful and famous statue of the Sphinx, the largest single statue in the world. The Egyptian pyramids belong to the glorious era of Egypt, 3,000 years before Christ, when one of the most powerful rulers was ruling in Egypt. The age of Khufu's pyramid, which is one of the famous Triple Pyramids of Giza and one of the 7 wonders of the world, dates back to 2,551 years BC, which indicates that this huge structure is 4,500 years old. The construction of Khufu's pyramid took about 20 years. Egyptian pyramids are among the oldest man-made structures that are still standing today. The age of the Triple Pyramids of Egypt, which are among the most prominent and well-known, dates back to the 4th dynasty of Egypt. Some believe that the pyramids are the culmination of the royal tombs that were formed by the 1st dynasty of Egyptian kings. The first kings of the 1st dynasty were buried in the mastaba, and then in a gradual process, this mastaba became a single floor, and in the next periods, the 3rd dynasty, their architecture evolved and they were arranged in the form of step pyramids. If we consider the pyramids as the inheritors of the architecture of the early mastabas, we can see the initial works and patterns in them, because the mastabas were actually rooms that led from digging a corridor to the basement. The pyramids have also preserved the same arrangement to some extent, and an underground corridor leads to the sarcophagus room. The arrangement varies from one pyramid to another and can have its own complications, but the interior design always includes a corridor and an underground chamber. Many believe that the shape intended for the Egyptian pyramids refers to the sun. In fact, the pyramids of Egypt are considered to be an integral model of the sun's rays. In the texts, the rays of the sun are also mentioned as a path for Pharaoh to ascend to the heavens. The first Egyptian pyramids, such as Djoser's pyramid in Saqqara, were designed in a stepped manner. It is quite clear that Djoser's pyramid was related to the holy stone of Ben Ben, a symbol of the ancient hill where the original creation took place. This pyramid was seen as a place for the rebirth of the dead ruler. 3 of the first pyramids in the Giza Plateau were built in 3 different generations of a royal family and by the order of the rulers of Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure. These pyramids were part of the tomb of the royal dead of those periods, which included a temple and a long stone path with a length of 1 kilometer. This stone path usually led from the east of the plateau to a temple on the edge of the plain. In addition to the 3 pyramids of Egypt that actually form the main structure, there are several smaller pyramids arranged in imitation that belong to the queens. A large cemetery of smaller tombs known as mastaba also fills the eastern and western enclosures of Khufu's pyramid. These smaller tombs, which are placed together in a grid, were built for prominent people of the court. At that time, it was considered a great honor to be buried next to the pharaoh, and in the beliefs, it helped to have a valuable place in the afterlife. Many questions remain about the construction of these massive structures, and there are many theories about the usual methods used. The labor force employed to build these huge buildings has also brought with it many discussions. The discovery of a city for workers in the south of the Giza Plateau has answered some of the ambiguities. It is likely that there was a permanent group of skilled workers and artisans, supplemented by 2,000 strong groups of laborers and seasonal workers. These people were divided into groups of 200 people and each group into teams of 20 people. Experiments show that each of these teams was able to move 2.5-ton blocks, equivalent to an SUV, from the mines to the pyramids in 20 minutes. This track was covered with a surface of soft, lubricating sand for easier movement of the blocks. According to estimates, due to the smaller size of some blocks, such as stones in Upper Kamist, 340 stones have been moved daily. What we see today in the Giza Plateau from the climate and geography of the region is not consistent with what was going on in ancient Egypt. At that time, there was no news of sand dunes, and this plateau was a green plain, and the pyramids were built in such a way that the reflection of their image fell in the water of the Nile River. According to some researchers, by building canals in the water of the Nile, the ancient Egyptians transported huge pieces of stone near the place where the pyramids were built. The first pyramid in Egypt was built by an architect named Imhotep in 2620 BC. At the beginning, he built this pyramid for the Egyptian king of his time named Djoser or Djoser Mastaba so that during the burial his body could be placed in it before being transferred to the tomb. Djoser's tomb is the oldest two-story pyramid in ancient Egypt and is covered with red Kara stone. This pyramid consists of an underground corridor with a depth of 27 meters. The entrance to the mausoleum is a circular valve that is closed with a granite slab weighing 3 tons. Imhotep is one of the scholars of ancient Egypt in the 27th century BC, 2650 to 2600 BC, who served as the chancellor in the third dynasty of Pharaoh Djoser, one of the Egyptian pharaohs. His name is Imhotep in Egyptian, which means the one who brings peace. He is the first architect, engineer, and doctor whose name is mentioned in history. Imhotep was also known as a poet and philosopher. Imhotep is one of the handful of people who, despite not being placed in Ashraf class, had a statue next to the statue of Egyptian pharaohs after his death. He was also the high priest of the Sun Temple. The existence of this person is confirmed by 2 inscriptions. First, there is an inscription on the base of the Djoser statue, and the other is written in hieroglyphs written on the wall of the historical site of Djoser's step pyramid. After Djoser's pyramid, Khufu's ancient pyramid is considered the most influential and a turning point in the architecture and design of ancient Egyptian pyramids. According to the research, until 2008, 118 or 138 pyramids have been discovered and identified in Egypt. These structures were built and designed in ancient Egypt as tombs for Egyptian pharaohs. The largest pyramid, the Pyramid of Khufu, which is also the largest among the 3 pyramids of Egypt, has a height of 146.5 meters. This structure remained the tallest man-made structure until 1221 and the construction of the old St. Paul Cathedral. However, St. Paul's Church collapsed less than 350 years later. Many others considered Khufu's pyramid to be the tallest building built by man for 3,800 years until Lincoln Cathedral was built with a height of 147 meters in England in 1311. Today, this pyramid is only slightly shorter than the George Washington Monument in the city of Washington, D.C., in the UNESCO list. Today, due to natural events, erosion, and theft of the beautiful limestone that covered its surface, Khufu's pyramid has become shorter and has reached a height of 138.8 meters. What is amazing about the Egyptian pyramids is not only their height, rather, it is the precision and details used in the architecture and design of these structures that today, despite modern equipment, building similar structures is still considered a challenge. The largest difference in length on the 4 sides of the pyramid is estimated to be only 4.4 centimeters and 2.1 centimeters in width. Meanwhile, the length of the base of this great pyramid is 230 meters on each side. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, with a height of 146.5 meters, is made of about 2,300,000 stone blocks. The interior of the Khufu pyramid is covered with rough and angular hewn stones, which is all we see today, and its exterior is covered with stones, the horizontal spaces between which are filled with plaster paste. The fine outer stone covering, of which no traces have been left for a long time, has been arranged with great care. Khufu's pyramid, with a height of 146.5 meters, is the only survivor of the 7 wonders of the world. The outer stones of the Khufu pyramid, which were made of white ironstone, gave the pyramid a smooth, shiny, and reflective surface. Today, only very few traces of these limestones can be seen in the foundations of this pyramid. At the highest point of the pyramid, a precious stone was placed, which was known as the pyramid stone, and it was probably covered with a layer of gold. This stunning spot glistened in the sunlight and could be seen from a great distance. The second largest pyramid of Giza was built by Khufu's son Khafra. In the upper part of this pyramid, there are limestone stones that were used to cover the outer surface of all 3 pyramids. Although the Khafra pyramid looks bigger than its father's monument, but this is not the case, and it is built and placed on a stone with a higher height, about 10 meters, compared to the bed and the base of the pyramid of Khufu. The Khafra pyramid is made of blocks with granite coating, and its floor is made of polished calcite stones. This pyramid is 138 meters high. Khafra pyramid is 30 meters higher than the Statue of Liberty. The last pyramid of the 3 pyramids of Egypt is the Menkaure pyramid, which is also called the Menkaure pyramid. This pyramid is 65.5 meters high and belongs to the last grandson of King Khufu. If you know the famous sails of the Sydney Opera House, this pyramid is exactly the same height as them. The entrance to Khufu's pyramid is located at a height of 17 meters from the ground. This pyramid has 3 main rooms: the king's room in the highest part, the queen's room in the middle parts, and a half-finished room left in the pyramid's foundation stone. The uses of many corridors and rooms in this complex are still unknown. In 1993, a German engineer sent a robot to cross a corridor whose entrance was in the Queen's room. This robot hit a door after traveling a 65-meter steep path. After a few years, in 2001, permission was issued to make a small hole on that door for drilling, but the pictures taken showed that there is another door 30 to 50 centimeters away from the first door. The interior of Khufu's pyramid is very unique and has mysterious characteristics. In this pyramid, there is a half-finished room in the basement with a magical function. A number of air vents lead from the basement to the upper chambers. These valves have also been examined by robots, but several blocks blocked the way. When entering Khufu's pyramid, you have to pass through a very narrow chamber with an ascending path. Passing through the chamber, you suddenly reach a stunning space known as the Grand Gallery. This conical passage continues to a height of 8.74 meters and leads to the king's room, which is made entirely of red granite. Above the king's chamber, there are 5 relaxation rooms covered with huge stone slabs. These slabs form a closed roof to support the weight of the mountain-like structure above them. The royal sarcophagus is placed exactly in the center of the pyramid of carved red granite stones. The burial chamber is filled with massive granite stones. The seals and entrances of the valves are filled with limestone to keep it complicated and difficult to open. Perhaps the reason for this complexity in entering the Egyptian pyramids is the placement of Pharaoh's treasure with him in Khufu's pyramid. Khufu's tomb has 7 large boat-like pits, 5 of which are located on the eastern side of the pyramid. These elements in the shape of a brick boat were a model of the transfer of kings to the stars in the afterlife. Boat burials have a long history of royal burials. A fleet of 14 boats with real wooden boats, averaging 18 to 19 meters in length, was discovered in the first dynasty of Egypt at the site of Abydos, the cemetery of early Egyptian kings. However, there were only boat-like pits in Khufu's tomb, not actual boats. In addition to these boat-shaped pits, on the south side of the pyramids, 2 huge and rectangular pits with completely separated boats were discovered. One of these boats was taken out and restored. This boat, with a length of 43.3 meters, is made of 1,224 pieces that were sewn together with rope. These boats seem to have been used for the king's last land journey during his funeral. The boat discovered in Khufu's pyramid was made of 1,224 pieces with a length of 43.3 meters. The interior of the Khafre pyramid is simpler than Khufu's pyramid, and it has only 1 burial chamber, 1 small sub-chamber and 2 corridors. The funerary temple space at the base is more elaborate than Khufu's pyramid and is filled with 52 life-sized statues of the king. During the excavation of the Khafre pyramid, a magnificent life-size statue of the king was discovered, which was made of very hard stone called megalith. This statue shows the king sitting on a lion-like throne, and on both sides of it are papyrus and lotus plants, as a symbol of Upper Egypt and Salafism. The discovered statue of the king is a very important sign in ancient Egypt and is known for connecting 2 lands, which represents the main duty of the king to maintain the integrity of the country under the authority of a single ruler. The base of the statues and other pieces discovered show that this was only one of the 23 images of the pharaoh in this temple. Menkaure Pyramid, the smallest pyramid among the 3 pyramids of Egypt, has several unique features. Many believe that the Menkaure Pyramid is a representation of a new series of Egyptian pyramids that heralds what the pyramids of the future pharaohs will look like. This pyramid has very special decorations at its entrance and many unpublished paintings related to different kingdom periods. This collection of paintings is in the form of geometric rectangles. The painted false doors are nested inside each other. In fact, false doors have no real use and are an artistic display that is carved or painted on the wall. This model of paintings is one of the typical elements of the architecture of that period, and there are also such things in Khufu's collection, which was built 50 years ago. Among the other different features of Menkaure Pyramid, we can mention the special architecture of the burial chamber, which is connected by a corridor to another room, where several tanks are installed to store the pharaoh's crowns and special jars to store the internal organs of the body for life after death. Perhaps the most important secret of these pyramids is how they were built. Until today, many groups of researchers have researched about this, but there is still no definite answer for it. In the meantime, the theory, which has been accepted more than other theories based on observations, informs about the participation of all people in the construction of these buildings as a civic duty, and considers the builders of these buildings to be expert workers who received money for their work. At the height of the construction of these pyramids, about 20,000 Egyptians participated. The graffiti and petroglyphs left from the ancient Egyptian eras show that the pyramid builders had a sense of pride and solidarity and a healthy competition with other pyramid builder groups. Another mystery for which no answer has been found yet is the method of transporting stone blocks, each of which weighed 2 tons and was equivalent to an SUV. How people raised these stones and formed the pyramid is debatable, although some researchers say that the Egyptians used the inclined and pulley system. Khushud has been of special importance in the spiritual thought of ancient Egypt. The sun has been the provider of life on earth, and he has disappeared every night only to reappear. For this reason, with the beginning of urbanization, this cycle has been the central point of organizing many issues in the country. Cities and everything located to the east of the Nile River, where the sun rises, belong to the world of the living, and everything to the west of the Nile River belong to the world of the dead. And in fact, if we look at the map, most of the metropolises of Egypt are located on the left side of the Nile River. For this reason, all the pyramids were built on the west bank of the Nile River, and perhaps for this reason, many believe that the triple pyramids of Egypt were built like the 3 hands of a clock, and during the day you can tell the local time from them. Khufu's pyramid is not only amazing due to the accuracy and details in the architecture, but the geographical features of this structure also distinguish it. Khufu's pyramid is located exactly in the center of the Earth and the intersection of latitude and longitude. Researchers believe that Khufu's pyramid was built exactly facing the North Pole at the time of its construction, and the very small error that we see today is due to the change in the position of this pyramid over time. Unlike the high temperature around the pyramids, one of the other special features of the Egyptian pyramids is that the temperature stays approximately constant at around 20 degrees Celsius. Many scientists believe that the reason for the high resistance of the Egyptian pyramids lies in the materials used among the stones, but until today, the composition of the cement used in it has not been proven. Well, we have reached the end of the clip. If you love tourist places and enjoy these clips, don't forget to like and subscribe. Wait for my next clip.